As a professional detailer for the past 20 years, I need my chemicals to be able to multitask the same way that I do. Now, don't get me wrong, I have specific cleaners for specific things, but I also need a product that can do a lot of things really, really well. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you guys how I use my Quivr brand Pineapple, 5 different ways to be able to get incredible results on every car. So what is Pineapple-ALL? Pineapple-ALL is a citrus-based all-purpose cleaner with no D-limonene. A lot of citrus-based cleaners use D-limonene. This does not have it. It's really safe for all surfaces. This product is highly dilutable, so you're able to get a ton of value out of a 32-ounce bottle. We're gonna talk about some of the dilutions that I prefer. Now on the bottle, I have it listed with 4 different dilutions, and then obviously straight is another option. I don't have that listed, but I have 10-to-1 for heavy-duty interior, 25-to-1 for all surfaces, just general cleanup, 5-to-1 for exterior pre-treatments, and 4-to-1 for wheels and tires. As you can see right here next to me, I have 3 bottles pre-mixed. These are the 3 that I use 99% of the time. Number 1 is that 5-to-1 ratio. Again, this is a fantastic way as a pre-treatment on the paint surfaces, heavier cleaning, even on the wheels and tires, even though I state 4-to-1, this works really well for that as well. 10-to-1 is where I go if the interiors are really, really saturated, or if I'm doing some upholstery cleaning with this product. 10-to-1 is a fantastic choice. But overall, I have to say the majority of the time, guys, I'm at 25-to-1. This works so well for interior cleanups. Even for relatively heavily soiled, it still works phenomenal. And with this dilution, I don't have to worry about doing a secondary wipe with it. It just comes up perfect. Now, before we get into actually showcasing the product on a vehicle that I did for my neighbor, I want to talk about the dilutions and the pH levels that these come in at. Now, straight off the bat, if you use it straight, it comes in at a pH of approximately 12.2 or so on the pH scale. So definitely a high alkaline product, but again, with the proper dilution, depending on what you're doing, it drops that pH down. So from 12.2, we go to the 5-to-1 ratio, and that brings it down to about an 11.25. Now, all of this is gonna vary depending on the water you're using to dilute this down. If it's a completely neutral water, it may drop it a little bit more, or if you have more alkaline water, it's gonna be in that range. So just keep that in mind. Again, from the 11.25, we go to the 10-to-1, and that drops it all the way down to 10.65 or so. And then again, my favorite at the 25-to-1, it drops it to right about 10 even on the pH scale. Now with that said, you may be thinking, hey, is this stuff safe for leathers and things like that? Now, typically leathers, a pH balanced cleaner for leather is usually in that 6 to 8 range, typically somewhere right around there. Even this at 25-to-1, I've had no issues, even on re-dyed leather. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Most of our leathers nowadays are actually a base coat and then topped with a clear. So we're actually reacting to that clear, and it does an amazing, amazing job. So along with the different dilutions, you can also use this as a regular spray bottle, like so here, or we can put it in a foaming pump sprayer or foaming like IK sprayer as well for that type of application if that's what you prefer. And we will cover both of those in this video. So with that said, now let's go ahead and look at some real world applications of this product. And I will also highlight some of my other products within this to show you, those more dedicated specific cleaners that I like to use as well. All right, guys, so here is the vehicle in question. This is a older Jeep Compass. This belongs to my neighbor at my shop. And as you can see, this thing sits outside and it's a little worse for wear. As you can see, the paint surface here, bugs stuck onto the front. Now, to be perfectly honest with you guys, this thing actually is in dire need of an actual clay treatment and everything else. So with that said, if you look at this mirror cap here, that is completely embedded into the clear coat there. So we're gonna address that as well. But I just wanted to let you guys know that every car is a little bit different. As a professional, we have to assess each vehicle as they come and do what we can to shorten the period that we're gonna be working on the vehicle. We're gonna utilize technique, process, and chemicals to shorten the span so we can continue to run a successful and profitable business. And again, Pineapple is just a great way to do it. So I want you guys to keep note here of the browning of these tires, just the dirt on the surface of this wheel. So keep that in mind as we go through this. Now, the engine compartment on this thing is not in bad shape. Most of the really bad areas are all just on the painted surfaces, and they're kind of embedded with dirt and contamination. So that's one of the areas that we can work with Pineapple, and that is where we foamed on. I actually used an IK sprayer here, and I foamed on Pineapple at a 5-to-1 dilution ratio. I foamed it on, I let it dwell, and then I go in and I agitate with a brush. This is just going to help loosen up all the debris as much as possible. Now the chemical is doing a lot of the work. I'm just going in with a soft tip brush to break it apart and make sure that it's going to rinse away nicely. So as you can see, we're going across all the plastic surfaces, the painted surfaces, getting it all loosened up, and then we will go ahead and rinse it to a nice clean finish. So here we go. We are now rinsing the vehicle back down. And as you can see, the surface is coming out very, very nicely. Now there's some darker spots right on the top there. You can see right above that trim piece. That is actually embedded. Again, like I said, this car has not been properly cared for, and some of the stuff is actually embedded in the dirt. It needs a proper clay treatment and polish to pull all of that out. But just with Pineapple, you're gonna be able to see the difference that I'm able to achieve getting this all squared away. Again, one product that I'm gonna be able to do a bunch of different stuff with across the entire vehicle, both interior and exterior, engines, everything else, to get this thing looking right. So if we zoom into those areas where the shock strut goes, you can see all the painted surfaces are all nice and clean now. All the dirt's been removed. Everything looks fantastic. Again, we're gonna go ahead and dry this down, and then we will dress it up as well. In order to dress it up, I do like to use my Abyss tire and trim. It's a water-based tire dressing and trim dressing. You can dilute that down. I actually like using it at 5-to-1 for things like this, where I can just spray it onto the surface. And then it just gives it a nice coating, and then just kind of let that soak into the surface, and then we can move on to the next steps and come back and address this at the end, which is the quick wipe up. Now that the engine compartment is done, we're gonna move on to the exterior. And again, you guys can see this exterior is absolutely hammered. So because I already had my Pineapple diluted in my IK foamer, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing and apply a liberal amount across the surface. Again, I'm doing this out of direct sunlight. And it's one of those things, you don't want to let this stuff dry on the surface because it is a higher alkaline product. Again, we're at 5-to-1, so it's still a bit high on the pH scale, but this is going to help break down all the contamination on the surface. Another way, which I'm really excited to share, is instead of just pre-treating it this way, which does a great job, it helps to break everything down, you can also do something and create something that I like to call the green goblin. That is where I take 3 ounces of impact foam, my Quivr impact foam, and another 2 to 3 ounces of Pineapple into a foam cannon, and then the rest goes up with water. That's going to create a pH boosted pre-wash that really helps to break things down. Now with this vehicle in question here, guys, like I said, it needs a clay treatment bad. The paint is definitely not in the best condition. So my purpose here is really to try and get this thing cleaned up as much as I possibly can, as quickly as I can, so that I can move on to the final steps. Now guys, like I said, with this car in particular, the surface is not in great shape, right? It definitely needs a clay treatment. It definitely needs to be decontaminated and polished back out. So I'm not worried about creating any sort of damage. So what I'm gonna do is use my Green Goblin mixture. And again, the great thing about this product is that because impact foam still has a ton of lubricity for the contact wash, I'm gonna foam the whole thing on and let that dwell a little bit. Then I'm gonna foam it again, create a higher weight to the foam and have it start pulling some stuff down, and then go straight in for a contact wash from there. And it's going to just make my life so much easier in removing all the surface contamination. We've all had it where we foamed on a car, went in for a contact wash, and there's still little things that you kind of have to scrub out and things like that. You're having to do more agitation than you want to. When you do it this way, it makes it so much easier. Just a simple wipe across with your contact wash, and you're good to go. Now, another area that I like to hit with Pineapple, now again, I do have a dedicated cleaner for this, but we're going to go ahead and talk about wheels and tires. As you can see, like you saw before with the other wheel, the surface of the wheel is dirty, the browning on the tires is quite bad. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys Pineapple on one, and then I'm gonna show you my brake, wheel, and tire cleaner on the other. With Pineapple, I do have to agitate, I do have to scrub out the tire, and I do have to agitate the surface of the wheel to get the best result. It definitely gets the job done and works really well. Again, this is why I like, you never know when you're doing a mobile detail job and you may accidentally run out of some product, and having a backup that works super well as well is invaluable to me. I have limited space in my truck, and this is why it's so important. So Pineapple on the surface, again, just agitating and then rinsing it out, and it came out looking fantastic. Real quickly though, just to highlight brake, this stuff is incredible. Again, this wheel is not getting touched at all. So you can see the surface there. I have this diluted down at 4-to-1. There are situations where I do use it straight, but you want to be very careful because this is a very, very powerful cleaner. But we're going to spray it onto the surface of the tire, and then we're going to spray it onto the surface of the wheel as well. We're going to let that dwell a little bit. If you look at the tire already, you can see browning coming out of it. It just starts melting down the contamination in the surface of the tire, releasing it, and it's doing the same thing on the wheel surface as well. So again, we load that up, we let it dwell a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and rinse it down. And it's really, really impressive the end result that you get with the smallest amount of effort ever. It's just an incredible wheel and tire cleaner. So here is the final look on the tire. You can see all the browning is gone. It's nice and stripped. It's ready to be dressed. The wheel surface, everything is clean and good to go. All right, so we've talked about the exterior pre-treatments. We've talked about cleaning the wheels and tires. We've talked about the engine compartment. Now let's go to the interior. This entire thing, I'm going to be using my Pineapple diluted at 25:1. As you can see, the interior of this vehicle is quite rough. Again, it hasn't been cleaned in a long time. I put down a tape line, I filmed it 50-50. You can see where it stopped there and where it stopped on the armrest there. It does, again, guys, just with a Scrub Ninja and Pineapple diluted 25:1, made a huge, huge impact. And now I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the rest of the door as well so you guys can see that. But just has a fantastic amount of foaming capability. I like the foaming ability because it helps to kind of lift out some of the dirt from all those cracks and little veins within leather and everything else. Does a really good job. Now I'm just gonna take a little brush and go into the tight spots and then wipe the whole thing down and show you guys the result. It just comes out looking absolutely perfect, just like a new vehicle, other than, you know, some areas are going to have some scuffs and things like that, which I can't do anything about. It's just in the plastic, but overall, incredible result. Now, same thing goes for the leather seats, guys. Now, these seats, I say leather, they're actually a vinyl on the outside, but vinyl shouldn't have this much shine to it. Leather definitely shouldn't. So we're gonna just do a little 50-50 tape line, and I'll show you guys the before and after of that and how well that came out looking, because it's an important thing, guys. You want to make sure you're stripping all the oils from the leather that shouldn't be there, all the transfer of sweat and lotions and things like that. And then once it's cleaned, obviously do your leather conditioning as well to make it, you know, leave it looking as fresh and supple as possible. But with that said, guys, I'm just gonna kind of walk through the rest of the interior of the vehicle, doing it in different ways. Again, we used the spray bottle and sprayed stuff on. Now I'm gonna go into the little more intricate areas around the shift knob and things like that. So I put it the same 25:1 ratio into a foaming pump sprayer. I'm gonna foam that right onto my brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and go in and agitate the areas I wanna get. This is great because I'm not creating a bunch of overspray. I'm not using more product than I need, but it's still doing an amazing job getting this whole vehicle cleaned up. So here you go, guys. Here are the basic, just kind of quick overall. Again, this wasn't a full detail or anything, but the results are pretty amazing considering it's one product for so many different surfaces. I absolutely love Pineapple. Again, as a professional detailer, I need my products to be able to do a lot of things, and Pineapple just hit it out of the park for me. That's why I love that product so much. We'll go ahead real quick and back out to the exterior, and I will show you the engine compartment now after I dressed it with Abyss, and it was 5:1. You can see a couple of drips right on that plastic piece. I'm gonna go and just mop those up and even that out, but everything else that came out looking fantastic. And then here's an overview of the paintwork of the vehicle. As you can see, again, guys, this was the pre-treatment and then the green Goblin mixture of impact foam and Pineapple foamed on and then straight into a contact wash, and there's nothing left behind. The surface is completely clean outside of needing to be clayed. So I hope that video helps you guys. Pineapple is just an absolute home run of a product. Super diverse. You can use it in a bunch of different ways. Highly dilutable, so you're getting a ton of bang for your buck out of this product. Definitely give it a shot if you haven't already. I absolutely love this stuff. I call it Pineapple because it does have a pineapple scent, although it is an all-purpose cleaner, so you do smell that kind of thing as well. But just an incredible product that just, again, ticks all the boxes for me in my professional business. Safe enough to use for the DIYer. Go check it out. But that is it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like the video. Make sure you subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and we'll see you on the next one.